Greetings, Stash Wyslouch here. Welcome to Bi-Weekly Musical Quick Tips. Please subscribe to my Patreon, subscribe to my YouTube channel, help the making of these videos, share with your friends. I teach online private lessons full time. I'm taking beginner, intermediate, and advanced students. Let me know if you'd like to sign up for a lesson. Today's quick tip, rhythmic displacement. Do it. Rhythmic displacement is a great tool for melodic variation. Great proponents of rhythmic displacement, Thelonious Monk, Willie Nelson, Django Reinhardt. Honestly, most people who improvise use it to some extent. Today, as usual, we're going to go in with that fine scalpel and talk about how we can systematically approach it. Let's take a phrase, for example, from the tune we touched on in quick tip number 40, the Rocky Road Blues. Here's the first 4 bars of the tune, skeletalized, that I got from the Bill Monroe version. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I like about using this tune for the specific tool of rhythmic displacement is we have quite a bit of space at the end of the line in case things get so displaced that we need that extra wiggle room to accommodate our musical ideas. We can break down that 4-bar phrase and actually say it's basically the same mini phrase repeated twice. So let's take that little mini phrase. Cool. We're going to rhythmically displace that and experiment with it. First, we define where the phrase starts and what the phrase consists of. It starts on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The phrase consists of a quarter note, an eighth note, and an eighth note. We know where it starts, and we know what it's comprised of. Now we're going to displace it. Let's start with level 1 displacing, quarter notes. So now instead of starting on beat 1, we're going to displace it by a quarter note later and start it on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The phrase itself hasn't changed, it's just been displaced by a quarter note. Let's keep going. Let's displace it by 2 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You'll notice that that phrase displaced by 2 quarter notes interferes with the next phrase that's going to occur. So now we have to make a musical decision. We could either snip the beginning of the first phrase and just pick up where we left off, or we could also take that same second mini phrase and displace it. Here's what it sounds like when we snip off the beginning after displacing the first one by 2 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Cool. That might not sound like much, but if you juxtapose that to somebody having sung it totally straight right before, it'll produce some interesting effects. We'll hear that later a little bit more. Now let's say we displace the second mini phrase by a quarter note to accommodate the fact that the second phrase ran into that second bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Cool. We could displace the second one by 2 quarter notes, etc., etc. That's a way to start experimenting with that. Cool. We could also, instead of displacing it forward, we could displace it back. Instead of starting on beat 1, we could start on beat 4 of the previous bar. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's pretty cool too. You could take that pretty far. You could start on beat 3 of the bar before. You get the idea. Level 2 of displacing. What if we displace not by quarter notes, but by eighth notes? This starts to get really interesting. Let's displace it 1 eighth note ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's displace it 3 eighth notes ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Very interesting. Starts to sound real syncopated, and it's quite different, especially if you put them one right after the other. So now let's take our first 4 bars, play the first mini phrase regular, and then play the second mini phrase displaced by 1 eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Wow, that starts to feel really interesting without actually having changed the phrases. We're just moving them around, shifting them. One note I will say with this stuff, make sure it's in your body before you try to put it on the guitar. Maybe try singing along with the click. For example, that phrase displaced by an eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. You could take this really far. I hope you start seeing the infinite possibilities as usual. Of course, don't get overwhelmed by them. Just take one thing and mess around with it. If you can really feel one of those phrases being displaced, for example, by an eighth note, I guarantee the next time you play Rocky Road Blues or some other riff-based type thing, you'll come up with some pretty interesting solos. Dare we take it to level 3 and displace it by 16th notes? Why not? It's musical quick tips. We're in the laboratory. We're sound scientists. We're having a good time. I just want to displace the phrase by 1/16th note. Let's put the click real slow so we can really feel that 16th note. I'm at 50 beats per minute. So we'd have normal. D, ba, ba, ba. Displaced by a 16th note. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 ah. Let's take it up a few clicks. See how it feels. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. 2, 3, 4. Etc. Alright, as usual, let's try it musically. Just to really enhance the rhythmic displacing effect, I'm going to play it normal one time through and then implement the rhythmic displacements. 2, 3, 4. Thanks for checking out the quick tips. Thank you for subscribing. Share with your friends. Give money to my Patreon page. Support the making of these videos. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully.
The road is rocky, but it won't be long.